All right, guys, I'm afraid I'm going to have to start the week by using the L word, and I don't like to use that word, believe me, but I'm going to have to use it. This is Real Truth. My name is Howard Real. Item from Daily Mail. A leprosy outbreak could soon hit homeless populations in the U.S., a doctor has warned. Dr. Mark Siegel of New York University's Langone Health fears it's just a matter of time before the bacterial disease strikes. He pointed to Los Angeles County as being particularly at risk, with almost 60,000 people sleeping rough in the street. Although leprosy is not particularly contagious, the combination of poor hygiene, a lack of shelter, and inaccessible medical treatment among the homeless creates a, quote, perfect cauldron for the disease, Dr. Siegel said. Left untreated, the infection can cause blindness or permanent disability, a sure recipe for instant public panic. Dr. Siegel is speaking amid the reemergence of, quote, Middle Ages diseases in the U.S., with Los Angeles also experiencing a typhus outbreak at the beginning of the year, unquote. My friends, contributing greatly to the expansion and the breadth of diseases here in America that we haven't seen in a long, long time, if we ever saw them, is our dear friends breaking the law at the southern border, coming here illegally from third world countries, bringing with them every bacteriological scourge there is. Here's a related item from the Conservative Review. The Northern Triangle of Central America is one of the most violent and impoverished regions in the world and is the prime hub for human and drug trafficking. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that bringing in hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens from these countries within a few years will bring in crimes, gangs, and drugs. Indeed, that's what's happened since 2014. But what's being overlooked by many, particularly those on the left, is the strong likelihood that by not blocking illegal immigration, we're importing devastating diseases that we've worked hard and long to eradicate from our country. This is how regressive progressives are. They turn back a century of indispensable healthcare progress and sacrifice it on the altar of political correctness. Over the past century, Americans have successfully diminished, and in some cases nearly eradicated, certain infectious diseases such as tuberculosis, pertussis, rubella, malaria, hepatitis, polio, measles, and mumps. Over time, every American has been checked and inoculated, except for a few who refuse. And all the legal immigrants are screened for these diseases. This has been done since our first immigration laws and was a value as deeply embedded in the tissue of our immigration politics as any other issue. But what happens when hundreds of thousands are enticed to come here illegally thanks to endless incentives? And what happens when they're coming from the most impoverished areas that are a century behind us in medical progress in terms of combating infectious diseases? Well, while we've made enormous strides in improving public health as a nation, we are not keeping up with our policies on immigration from even 1 century ago. In fact, we're going backwards, unquote. Folks, I don't like people who break the law. I don't like people who put our national security at risk. I don't like people who come here from South and Central America, from Mexico, from the Middle East, from Africa, from anywhere and enter our country illegally. I believe those people need to be stopped, violently if necessary. They're a drag on society. They bring crime. They bring disease. They bring drugs. They bring human trafficking. We have people coming from God knows where, which means they could be coming from jihad countries in the Middle East. We just plain don't know. And that's why we need a wall. And frankly, that's why we need security people on the border armed with guns. But of all the obvious threats, of course it's not obvious to the left because they just refuse to see it. Of all the obvious threats, it's disease which is the most insidious because you can't see it. And these people are not being given thorough physicals. And if a disease is spotted, they're not being sent back home because that wouldn't be nice. And so now leprosy, typhus, other diseases that had no foothold in America, well, now they are here. Thank the politicians. on both sides of the aisle, but especially on the left. Thank the lawyers who go down to the southern border and teach the illegal immigrants what they need to say in order to gain admittance to this country. There's plenty of blame to go around. Blame the idiots who declare their cities to be sanctuary cities or states or campuses. Plenty of blame to go around, but just remember one thing before we go to commercial. When your child or your spouse comes down with a horrifying disease, who knows, maybe leprosy, remember who told you so. Remember who's been telling you so on this show for years and years. We need to secure the southern border, and anyone who won't do it in a position of power, anybody in Congress and any former president who won't do it and who seeks to prevent it from being done should be criminally liable. And if you've been voting Democrat, well, if and when your kids come down with diseases, I hope it makes you feel good. Hope you feel like you've abandoned your kids and you haven't been a good parent. You put them in danger, because you will have. We need to get Democrats out of government. We need to do it fast. We need to do it immediately. I don't want to read about a death toll to leprosy in the United States. When we come back, we will have some equally egregious things to share with you. It's Monday. Hell of a way to start a week, right? It's Real Truth. Go nowhere.